course you want to be a champion. Of course you want to be working towards winning titles.
Be happy, but never satisfied.
Better than ever.
This match, both of these teams have played once already today.
We are live in Brampton, Ontario for this webcast featuring the Canadian Ultimate University Championship, the 2023 edition. My name is Etienne Fournier. I will have the great privilege of hosting this live webcast with Devon Asimota. Thanks, Devon, for being with us for this game, which will feature wearing the blue jerseys on the right-hand side. Université de Montréal. On the left-hand side, wearing the white jerseys. Carleton University, the Ravens.
Yeah, so poll just comes up just to situate you guys. This is the game to go. So Carleton already played today. They beat Laurier to start the day 13-11. And then UDM also won. They beat U of T 15-11 to start the day. And we just had Dagler miss a flick hook out of bounds to Noah Archer, number 7.
And the disc went out fairly early in the throw, so the disc will be put back into play in Carleton's half. So Carleton beginning the game on offense. Alors, on va y aller en français et en anglais pour le bénéfice de tous nos amis du Québec qui nous écoutent. Merci d'être des nôtres. C'est la Combergoine qui alimente Cohonner, milieu de terrain. Cohonner brise la marque, contourne pour alimenter son coéquipier 62 JR. La passe est longue, c'est le numéro 29, mais il y a eu un appel. It was a call, I think it was a pick call before the throw. Alors, le numéro 29, le Melvin Brichet, originaire de France, qui étudie avec l'Université de Montréal. Un joueur qui a connu une excellente saison estivale dans d'autres circuits. Cohonner qui s'offensive en plein milieu de terrain. Brichet encore, lui, qui s'ouvre. Et voilà la passe, numéro 62, c'est confirmé. Montréal, d'entrée de jeu, qui inscrit le premier point du match, et c'est un point bris. So Montreal scoring the first point. in the first break point of the game, taking a short lead 1-0.
UDM, this is the perfect start for them. You know, you get a turn off the start after their opening pull, and then you just work it up casually outside of their vert stack. So exactly the start. What Carleton's really going to look to do is run. What Carleton's really going to look to do here is just run a steady play to get themselves back in the game.
So Carleton, I believe they have called a quick timeout. It's just a little longer than usual to put the disc back into play. So no timeout call. So Devon, what a great way to start a game. Break point right off the bat. That's what you want. But on the Carleton's end, it was a miscue. They threw the disc out of bound, and Montreal took quickly advantage of this miscue.
Yeah, so we'll see the set that Carleton's going to run here just to shore up some things and hopefully get their first point on the board.
Great pull by Brichet. Carleton, O-line, earning some yardage. Great fake by number 42, Somerville. Now it's Hodge. Feeding Adibé.
Some key players to look out for this game, especially on offense. We have Noah Bailey, number 16 here. You can see him looking for the reset here. And then Brandon Adibe, number 12, coming in with that U24 experience from this past summer.
And what an experience it was last summer in Nottingham, where the U24 World Championship were hosted. Adibé played on the open team. Great bid by Brichet, a little too short. And Carleton confirming their first point, number 42, Cam Somerville, making this game a 1-1 game. So, Devon, what about the rosters of these two teams? Just from a visual aspect, I've seen much more white jerseys than blue jerseys on the sideline. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, you can see the Ravens really stylish right now. You know, with they have the white jerseys fading into the red on the lower end to just match their shorts. UDM, you've seen the classic blues for a couple years now. Black shorts, really good, really clean. I'm going to have to say I do like the Ravens jerseys more just because it's different. It's giving something new, adding things to the game.
What about the numbers of players on each roster? Montreal seems to be very, very short roster. I think they have 12 players that made the way from Montreal to Brampton to attend that championship.
Yeah, you know, sometimes that 5 or 6 hour drives really takes out a few people. So it's hard to get everyone here to Brampton. But you can tell with this 13-man roster, not lacking talent at all. They have multiple U24 players. We have Cohoner from the open team. We have Guay from the mixed team. And then just a few other players just with lots of experience, like Brochette coming in from France, that U20 team.
Montréal en réception de service. La Combe-Bourgoine, plein cœur du terrain. Belle passe revers. Trouve Cohoner qui sauve. Belle feinte ici sur le jeu long. Retient son geste. On force du côté revers, du côté de Carleton. La Combe-Bourgoine qui agira sûrement comme quart arrière de cette ligne offensive montréalaise. Rapidement, on gagne des verges du côté montréalais. Encore une fois, la Combe-Bourgoine est un joueur que j'ai eu le privilège de voir évoluer au cours des dernières années. Quel talent! Il rejoint Courville. Rapidement, au beau plongeon défensif, c'était un peu court, la passe du numéro 5, le Hansen. Belle pression du côté de Carleton. Montréal s'accroche. La Combe-Bourgoine alimente son coéquipier, le numéro 24, Rivet. Et c'est confirmé par les Observers Montréal qui inscrit un deuxième point. C'est maintenant 2-1 pour l'Université de Montréal contre les Ravens de Carleton. So, Devon, what about the execution of Montreal's O-line, which seems pretty flawless.
Yeah, Montreal is working out of a vertical stack mainly right now, just isolating their players into space. And that's how you saw Lecombourg throw a wide open assist to Dubois there in the end zone.
So great execution. So Devon, can you tell us a little, how did this two team got here? How does it work in order to qualify for a national championship like the one we're attending?
Yeah, so in the Canadian University Series, you get a couple of pre-tournaments to try to qualify. So you get a couple of pre-tournament. So University de Montreal, they played the Quebec qualifier. They were missing a lot of guys due to a lot of their Mephisto players, the top open team in Montreal. They were away at a tournament. And then Carleton, they had a couple chances. Also, one tournament, they were missing a couple guys. So that's what happens. After you miss a couple bids, they have this Friday qualifier for you to just get the extra bids to Division 1. Only 8 teams qualify. So it's an honor to be there. And both of these teams are really hungry for that.
Montreal with the pull. Carleton on the receiving end. It landed out of bounds. So Carleton will take it back to the brick mark, which is the X on the field that you see. So it's number 16, Bailey, quarterbacking this O-line, putting it long, and it's a one-pass point. Dagler was on the receiving end. Well, wow, how spectacular was that pass?
Yeah, so Carleton had a great use of that host stack, really just isolating Dagler in space, and Bailey, all he had to do was just a little nice deep flick.
And Bailey, without any hesitation, he just tapped the disc in and just fires it, whips it down the field.
Yeah, he's essentially their quarterback, their QB1. He's going to be taking the shots for the team. They're going to be relying on him for some big throws. And now let's see if this Carleton D-line can get a break back for the team to put them back on serve.
It's all about break points. So if you're not familiar with Ultimate, when we speak about the break point, is if you start the point on offense or receiving the pull, the logic say that you should score. If you get scored on, that's what you are being break or being broken. So that's the whole intent in the sport. Your D-line needs to convert some point in order to win the game.
Similar to how tennis, you have those service games that you want to hold on, and you can get breaks by scoring on their serve.
Lacombe-Bourgoin du côté des Montréalais en réception de cette première passe va alimenter Brichet. Brichet défendu par Adibé. Quelle belle confrontation. Deux excellents athlètes qui s'affrontent ici. Deux coéquipiers aussi dans un autre contexte. C'est Courville maintenant avec le disque. Beaucoup de circulation. Cherche une option. Il va rejoindre Rivet. Un grand gabarit. C'est maintenant au tour de Gingras avec le 10, belle attrapée ici du côté montréalais. Il y a eu un appel, je crois que c'est maintenant le numéro 6, Ferber, avec le disque.
And this is Simmons coming off here with an injury. We have Archer coming on to replace him. So in Ultimate, when you are injured midpoint, we're going to stop. And both teams actually get to sub everyone off. So you see Cohonair coming on for
number 23, which is Dubois. So Montreal, en milieu de terrain, après cette substitution suite à une blessure du numéro 2 de Carleton. Rapidement, Montréal, la passe flottante, c'est audacieux et c'est sécurisé par le numéro 17, Courville, qui confirme ce point, ce troisième point de Montréal. Montreal taking a 1-point lead back, but still have one break point in their back pocket.
Yeah, that was a great put. Kind of looked like a hospital pass in a sense. There was a lot of people on there, but due to the shape of the throw, it was only coming down to one person who had the best read.
There is no bad pass as long as it's completed. So whatever your decision, whatever the creativity of the pass, if it's a complete pass, then it was the appropriate pass.
As a player, for sure. Definitely as a coach, you don't want to see all of those.
It's all about perspective, depending if you issue that pass or if you're coaching the players who has issued that pass.
Yeah, so UDM is going to come out here. We have Brichette about to pull. And same Carleton O-line coming out here, looking to hold.
So Devon, there is over 60 teams who are attending this 3-day long tournament. 60 teams. So you can count approximately 10, 15 players. Let's say 15 players. So, I mean, that's a ton. That's over like 1,000 athletes attending the tournament. So that's the biggest event for Ultimate Canada every year. So
yeah,
great,
and it
great
just
work by
shows the
Ultimate Canada.
growth of Ultimate in Canada, that more schools are being able to have more teams and make this a more competitive, to the point where we're at 3 divisions now.
It's a one-to-one defense by Montreal. Great disc movement by Carleton, but there's not much room for breathing on offense. Great reading, no damage, but it's a hand block by Montreal qui contre-attaque rapidement le numéro 62, JR, qui a intercepté cette passe. Une autre opportunité de bris pour Montréal. Milieu de terrain, Cohner avec le disque, qui va avec un ancien. Beau plongeon d'Adibé. C'était un peu court. Et il y a eu un temps d'arrêt par Montréal. Timeout call by Montreal. So the teams have 2 timeouts per half. So great call by the coaching staff by Montreal. Really want to take advantage of this opportunity.
Yeah, especially a short roster like UDM, they're going to use all of their timeouts in a game, keep those legs fresh, and especially, they have the disc in the middle of the field looking to get another break, looking to get up in the game. So why not take advantage to set up your offense?
And as you mentioned, Devon, Montreal might have a short roster, but their shorter is very deep in regards of skills and talent. Alors, Montréal qui vient d'appeler un temps d'arrêt. Les équipes ont 2 temps d'arrêt par demi de ce match qui est d'une durée de 80 minutes, donc 1h20. C'est un match à 15 points. Première équipe qui atteint le plateau de 15 points, ou encore après 80 minutes, on terminera le match. Et la mi-temps se jouera après qu'une des 2 équipes ait atteint le pointage de 8, ou encore après 40 minutes.
So it looks like University de Montréal is setting up in a host stack here, and Carleton is just using their time to decide what matchups they want, where they want to poach potentially, and to try to get the disc back for this O-line.
Un alignement horizontal pour les Montréalais. On donne beaucoup d'espace aux passeurs pour donner potentiellement un passe éco pour donner un momentum à cette action offensive. Voyons voir que seront les tracés des cibles montréalaises. C'est Brichet qui remettra le disque en jeu. Ça sera défendu par Bailey. Brichet rapidement, sans hésitation, remet à Cohner. Cohner cherche Brichet du côté Brie. Le rejoint avec une belle passe Brie. On enchaîne rapidement du côté fermé. On trouve Gay à la Combe-Burgoine qui agissait comme traceur pour ce début de point. Brichet, coincé le long de la ligne, cherche une option, remet en soutien à la Combe-Burgoine. Cohner, qui vient aussi en support. La Combe-Burgoine attaque le tracé. Cohner va plutôt du côté Brie, va alimenter le 96 de Gagliardi. On est patient du côté montréalais. On veut tirer avantage. Belle petite passe audacieuse, une passe poussée du côté Brie, mais il y aurait eu un pick. So there was a pick call by Bailey, which Brichet seemed kind of oddly open, I gotta admit. Brichet rapidement, mais ne peut compléter. Je crois que la passe a été partiellement bloquée. It was partially blocked, I think, by a defender.
It was definitely a clog lane. There was a lot of people there, tight throwing lane, and Carleton seemed to get a hand in on that.
So unfortunately for Montreal, they called a timeout in order to take advantage of this break opportunity, but denied by Carleton, which are moving pretty quickly. Was partially blocked. What a great bid by number 96, Gagliardi, who just blocks that pass going up the line. Great defense par Gagliardi, portant numéro 96. La Combe-Burgoine rapidement au numéro 62, JR, mais il y aurait eu un appel.
So it looks like Adibé is calling a foul on Brichet, probably stepped on his foot there. And the disc should go back to Guay.
Encore une fois, quelques appels, a few calls so far in this game, but quickly resolved. So that's what we expect from these athletes.
And definitely the observers on the field help keep the disc moving smoothly.
Two very well experienced observers acting today. We'll talk later about the observers' role. Montréal, corner avec le disque. La passe, c'est Brichet qui la cible et qui l'attrape d'une seule main. Profondément dans la zone de pointe et donne à Montréal le bris espéré. Montreal scoring their fourth point, their second break point of the game. What a great grab by Brichet. One-handed grab with a very, very angled disc going down very, very quickly, but still he find a way to manage it.
Yeah, and I think Cohonair needs to get a lot more credit for that throw. Those OI flick throws in this wind, they're très difficile, je pense.
Very well said.
Yeah, so, and then obviously great read by Brichet. Adibe and Hodge from Carleton were in the area, but they just couldn't get in the way of that angled throw.
Montreal taking a 2-point lead in this game.
So this is similar to how UDM started out the game against U of T. They went up a lot of breaks, and what you can expect from U of T with a bigger roster is they slowly came back through. But the strength of UDM really held through there in the end, and we'll see if that also happens in this game. You do expect the players who are having to double, maybe triple sometimes, get fatigued toward the end.
And speaking of which, Brichet is still on the field. Coronaire is still there. So the two actors of the last point. And we can expect a lot of playing times by these two players. Brichet acting as the official puller for Montreal. Carleton looking to respond to make it a 1-point game. Bailey quarterbacking. Nice little backhand. Straight in the middle of the field. Adibe going inside quickly, finding Simmons. And feeding number 38, but he cannot control. Hodge was the intended receiver, but unfortunately could not handle the pass.
Yeah, it looked like a nice throw from Simmons, and Hodge had the separation needed to get open, but just, a little bit of a bobble.
Great decision, great execution, but could not confirm it. In the meantime, Cohonair remettra le disque en jeu, défendu par Bailey. Il y avait une option longue ici, mais on retient le geste. C'est Rivet avec le disque, et c'est défendu ici. Nice defense by Simmons. But there's a pick call. So whoever was a victim of the pick need to catch up to the person he was defending. Some discussion, some observers also ensuring that we'll put the disc back into play at the right stall. Simmons, nice little flick, finding Adibe. Push pass, finding his teammate Dagler. Great defense by Montreal, but still Carleton hangs on with the possession. Stall is getting high. Where's the reset? Adibe finds himself. Well, the disc just finds its way through two Montreal defender. Adibe hangs on, securing Carleton third point.
Yeah, and you saw Dunnigan there at the front of the end zone, really just looking for options. He was pivoting, and Adibe came through, got open high in the stall count, and that's what you need from your star players.
The game just before this one, we witnessed McGill playing against TMU, and one thing that came out from McGill is that they were very, very disciplined near the end zone. You see there was like a stack straight in the middle, and they were waiting for opportunities. Well, for Carleton, my impression, I'd like to hear you, Devon, on that. There was like maybe a little too much excitement. Everybody wanted to give themselves as an option, which create a little chaos. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, especially in those longer points, there were a couple turns. It is Carleton's O-line, so they should be used. They should have practiced their end zone. They should be more disciplined. But at the point, you just want the point to end sometimes, and everyone wants to be the one to score. So that's why you see sometimes everyone's running for the disc.
It's about the enthusiasm management, I guess. Carleton trailing by only 1 point, but Montreal having 2 break points in their back pocket.
Kim with the pull here for Carleton, and they're going to hopefully try to get their first break of the game here.
Great pull, but unfortunately the distance was there, the hang time was there, but it falls out of bounds. So Montreal will take it back at the brick mark, which is 20 yards upward their own goal line. Lacombe Bourgoine remettra le disque en jeu sur la marque de brique. Un alignement, une séparation. On tente la passante. Oh, belle défensive, number 42. Very well read that long attempt. Denies it, granting Carleton an opportunity for a break point.
Somerville there just really read the play. They knew what was coming up in the split stack and read the D. And now another turn here.
Montréal qui reprend possession du disque après cette mauvaise communication en offensive. Lacombe Bourgoine ne peut contrôler cette passe. Carleton with another break opportunity along the sideline. 97 Donegan will put the disc back into play. Vertical stack, midfield.
And Donegan was a player the coaches want to highlight here, just here to take big shots and really command the field on a turn for this Carleton D-line.
Great disc movement by the white jerseys from the Ottawa region. Simmons, defended by Lacombe Bourgoine, flicks it to 69. Kim. Great second effort by number 5, Hansen, to keep possession in the red zone. Flicking it deep on the break side, but I think it was kind of a desperate throw. He was running out of time and he had to attempt something.
Yeah, he didn't really, I didn't see any looking to his bail there, so he just had eyes for the end zone and he took a shot and it just didn't work out there.
It seems like it took too long for cuts to come in, and the up the line cut was denied on defense. Courville avec ce disque qui s'offre en cible encore une fois sur le tracé long. Et c'est maintenant Gingras, va sur le côté Brie et rejoint Courville et sécurise ainsi la possession offensive de Montréal qui reprend une avance de 2 points. Montreal taking back a 2-point lead, 5-3 with Rouville in the end zone.
Yeah, one thing to note, even though Carleton didn't get the D there, they got 2 turns this time, and you can see they're putting more and more pressure on this UDM O-line. But again, UDM is so talented that they may have a couple turns, but they have the discipline to keep scoring.
We are already 25 minutes into this game, which is intended to be for 80 minutes, unless one of these two teams reaches the 15-point mark. So 5-3, Montreal wearing the blue jerseys against Carleton from the Ottawa region, which, Devon, you know pretty well. I think you're very familiar with the Ottawa region players for having competed with maybe a few of these players, if I'm not mistaken, or at least maybe not this year, but in previous seasons.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to start a master's at the University of Ottawa, so I moved there September 2022 and played for the U Ottawa GGs, the open team there. So I have gotten to know the Carleton boys and the U Ottawa boys just a little bit. Great city, our nation's capital.
Indeed. So Devon, having played 5 years in the University Series. So what are the rules? You can play up to 5 years out of an 8-year period, if I'm not mistaken, or 7?
Yeah, you have 5 seasons you can play within 8 years. So even if you take a couple of years off from school, you can still come back and use the rest of your eligibility here. And so most of these players, Carleton does have a couple 5th years coming back just because this senior core has won Division II twice, and they really want to make it to Division I.
Carleton moving up the disc, but it's defended by Montreal, number 62, which makes sure that the camera has caught his action. Giard.
And Giard wanted us to know that this is his second D of the game. He got that hand block earlier, and now he just got a foot block on Somerville.
And Giard opening himself up, but Connor resetting to Brichet. Now it's Gagliardi. Maintenant Connor. est forcé du côté revers, mais il y a un appel là, du côté de l'alignement du stack. Et Montréal, là, qui avec une opportunité de bris. Montreal has already 2 break points and threatening with a potential third break point. Brichet avec le disque, défendu par Adibé. Quelle belle confrontation, ces deux athlètes. Ils se connaissent très, très bien. Conner avec le lancer sous coupe. Et Adibé dit non, ça ne passera pas. Adibé denying this scuba by Conner. Counter strike by Carleton, but Adibé didn't expect this bat. Was there a call? I think there was a call.
Yeah,
yes.
It seemed like Adibe called a foul on Cohonair. He just felt a little arm in his back and probably is going to say that's the reason the disc went over his head because he couldn't adjust his positioning. And a good spirit there. They had a conversation and the call was retracted. So the turnover will stand and University de Montreal will have a chance to get another break.
And that's one thing I like when if you're a coach, you're trying to teach your kids. Like, if you're not sure there was a foul, call it. Worst case, retrieve your call. But if you cannot, I should have called it. Just call it. And worst case, I'm taking it back because it was not a foul. So.
Yeah, I think some people are in the mindset that as soon as I make a call, I have to defend that with my life. And I think this just shows you at a high level, you can make a call, have a talk, and see what happens.
C'est Rouville, encore une fois, là, qui, du côté des longues passes. Et là, c'est JR là, qui confirme le point après avoir effectué une belle défensive avec son pied. Et c'est Montréal là, qui se forge une avance de 3 points dans cette première mi-temps. 6-3, Montreal leading versus Carleton.
So Xiao is doing the thing that we call double happiness. Etienne, have you heard of that term before?
I'm very, very familiar with that double happiness, but the translation in French has not been confirmed yet by the official authorities. We're still discussing.
Double as amusant, je pense.
Yeah, but what makes you happy twice? I think like an ice cream with like 2 scoops of ice cream. So I like to say a cornet à 2 boules. That makes you happy twice. So that's my definition of double happiness. But some people do not agree with me. Some people don't like ice cream. They're very unhappy people.
And just in case you're wondering, double happiness is a term when you get the defense yourself and then you score the goal on the turn. So Gerard got that foot block a couple turns ago, and he just scored, continuing off that hook. And now Carleton here is taking a timeout. They've been broken, I think, 3 times this game already. So UDM is up 6-3. They're really riding the energy. So this timeout serves 2 purposes, right? You have coaches Yannick and Kyle Hunter here, just probably telling them to chill out, cool down. It's okay. Let's take this 1 point at a time, make good decisions.
So far, it's been about execution. There was some forced error but were they able to capitalize? No, there was other turnover afterward, but it's all about execution. We've seen Carleton; they were in the red zone, but they were just not able to capitalize. We mentioned that their stack, maybe a little lack of discipline with their stack in the end zone, so something they should clean up. While on the Montreal side, we've seen their long game, which had paid off. We've seen Brichet feeding Rouville in the last instance. So let's see how Carleton can reduce the gap. They're now trailing by 3.
Yeah, and we've definitely seen Carleton capable of scoring. You saw them score in 1 pass over there. You saw them work the disc up. You saw them get the disc back. So this Carleton side, they can get back in this game. It's just going to be 1 point at a time. So it's really looking probably to lean on Adibé, Bailey, Dagler here to help them get a score.
We are in the beautiful facilities of Brampton, Ontario, just north of Toronto. Nice turf field. Carleton on the receiving end of this Montreal pool. Bailey looking for a teammate. Feeding on the break side. Great fake by number 22. Dagler flicking it to Donegan, 97, almost at the brick mark. Dagler Going long to Adibe, which with the athletic skills was able to free himself up from a Briche's defense, providing Carleton their 4th point. They're now trailing only by 2.
Yeah, and that was a beautiful shot from Dagler there. He's really went every other there from him, just going sideline to sideline. And Adibe already had the distance on Briches, so he just put it up to his teammate that he knows can get open deep like that. And now I finally have the rosters here, so we'll be getting more names out of me.
And in the meantime, we'd like to acknowledge that the 2023 Canadian University Ultimate Championships are taking place in the traditional territory of the Anishinabek, Huron-Wendat, Haudenosaunee, and Ojibwe Chippewa peoples, the land that is home to the Métis, and most recently the territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, who are direct descendants of the Mississaugas of the Credit. We also acknowledge that Brenton resides within Treaty 19, dated in 1818. We would like also to thank our sponsors, Be Ultimate, Discraft, and the City of Brampton for making this event possible. And we invite you to visit Be Ultimate on site or on their website for all their great gears.
And what you see here is Carleton coming out in a 3-3-1 zone. So you see that cup with 3 people in it, and then 3 mids just patrolling the middle of the field, and 1 person sitting back to stop those hugs.
La défensive de zone de Carleton là, qui crée des difficultés, mais on trouve de l'espace du côté montréalais. Voilà, l'espace est créé. C'est la transition 1 pour 1 du côté Carleton en défensive. Montréal qui continue à bouger le disque rapidement. On ne laisse pas le temps à la défensive des Blancs de s'installer. C'est le numéro 11, Guy, avec le disque qui alimente la combe Burgoine. Encore une fois, Montréal qui bouge le disque sans arrêt. Gay avec le disque, cherche une option. Lacombe Burgoine dans la zone rouge. Qu'on est tout juste d'entrée, remet au centre à Dubois. Dubois à Rivet. Rivet rend la politesse à Dubois. Beau plongeon ici de Adibé, c'était un peu court. Et là, il y a un appel d'obstruction. Pick call on the play. Montreal, about 5 yards shy of potentially their 7th point. Alors, on s'assure que les joueurs reprennent et voilà, le disque est en jeu. Et rapidement, on brise la marque, on la contourne pour sécuriser le 7e point de Montréal. C'est Gingras qui sera la cible. Et c'est 7-4, 7-4 for Montreal in this first half.
Yeah, and one thing you really saw there was UDM's ability to break the mark, constantly just getting to the far side of the field. And if Carleton's marks aren't going to stop it, it's going to make it a lot harder on the defense, because even there, he scored on the break side, which is the opposite side of where the player is guarding. So like we said earlier, like UDM, they may only have 13 guys, but the skill level is very high across the roster. You saw 3 or 4 different players able to break the mark there.
And I just love the way that Montreal is moving the disc quickly. So how tough it is on defense when you cannot install your mark. When you do it, like the stall does not get any higher than 2, you're always in a catch-up mode. So it's hard to dictate your pace on defense. You're always in a catch-up mode. So great, let's give some credit to Montreal for putting such pressure on Carleton's defense.
Yeah, and especially when you're playing defense like that, you rely on your mark to stop. And if your mark isn't able to set that mark to shut down half the field, you're essentially having to guard the full field. And at this level, you can't stop people from scoring on the full field.
Carleton on the receiving end of Montreal's pool. They're trailing by 3, but we've seen great things about Carleton. We know they can run some offense. We've seen them scoring points, like a 1-pass point earlier in the game, and we've seen some great flow also on offense. So we know they can run it. It's just about some miscued execution that put them into the position they're in, trailing by 3, right?
Yeah, and one thing the coaches said before the game is, like, if things aren't going their way, they're just going to start throwing things at the wall, which means they're going to keep trying new things until something sticks. So now here they're coming out in a side stack for the first time. We haven't seen that this game.
Bailey, defended by Coroner. Carleton moving the disc sideways. Bailey's with Hodge. Oh, great pressure, but not miscued. So it's number 62, Giard. Again, he's having an amazing game. He already has one hand block, one foot block. He scored at least 1 point. And there's we would credit him with another defense right there. Great bid by Adibé. Just a little short. Montréal qui menace dans la zone rouge. Une dizaine de verges de ce qui pourrait être le point qui mène à la mi-temps. Corner qui s'offensive le long de la ligne. Et voilà, c'est confirmé. Montréal qui en inscrit un 8e. Il mène maintenant 8-4 et ça nous mène à la mi-temps. So halftime break, Montreal leading 8-4. So Devon, what are your impressions on this first half? Or I should say, what should Carleton do differently in order to close their 4-point deficit?
Yeah, I think the story of this half was definitely some execution errors out of Carleton and then just discipline and consistent pressure from UDM. So Carleton, they had a couple miscues in a sense. They missed a flick. They got blocked. They threw deep to nobody. And UDM, they just capitalized off of those mistakes. So you saw them there, like a turnover on the sideline, work it off the sideline, get into your end zone set, score on the open side. Very just disciplined movement. And it's also efficient for a team with only 13 people.
So halftime here in Brampton, Ontario, Montreal, l'Université de Montréal qui mène 8-4. We'll take a short break for this halftime. We'll be right back in a couple of minutes. Stay tuned. We are back. Brampton, Ontario, CUUC 2023. My name is Etienne Fournier. I'm sharing the mic with Devon Asemota.
Devon here.
Montreal, Université de Montréal, wearing the blue jerseys against Carleton wearing the white jerseys. Montréal qui mène maintenant 8-4 après une première mi-temps. Levon, you were mentioning what was last year's results of those two teams, and what are the odds for them to join the Division One?
Yeah, so last year it was a tale of two different teams, right? Because you had Carleton lose out in the game to go last year against McGill in the Friday qualifier, and then just stormed through Division Two. It wasn't even close. They won their final, I think, 12-5, right? And then UDM, you saw them; they were defending champions coming in here, so they went 2-1 through pool play, and then made it to the semis, lost on Universe, and then won bronze. So we have the third best team in the country last year versus the ninth best team here in a game to go.
That's what the University Series is all about. Like, you never know from one year to another. That's what makes it so exciting.
And some impact players from the first half. You saw Hodge and Bailey, the handler core on Carleton, really just set the tone for the team. And just on UDM, you saw Cohoner, you saw Gouet, Lacombe Bourgogne just relentlessly making good choices.
Montréal qui commencera cette deuxième mi-temps en offensive avec le lancer d'engagement de Carleton. Montréal qui a 3 points bris en banque alors que Carleton est toujours en chasse pour son premier point bris. Et lancer d'engagement qui atterrit à l'extérieur, Lacombe Bourgogne qui remettra le disque au X de la brique. Il alimente rapidement Ferveillère. Un appel de faute contre la marque. C'est Adibé qui a causé la faute. On trouve l'espace côté bris. Brichet qui feinte la longue. Il va après une belle feinte du revers, il va du côté droit. Oh, et c'est converti par Gingras, le numéro 3 de Montréal, qui gagne cette bataille aérienne. It was a fierce battle in the end zone. It was like any player's disc, and Gingras is finishing the job, granting Montreal their 9th point to kick off this first half.
Yeah, you saw a great battle there between
Gingras
and Somerville there. And Somerville is really good in the air too. I've matched up with him before, and if you saw him play crank in the mixed division that summer, you would have seen him sky a lot of people himself.
It's always difficult when you know you're standing by, the disc is slowly going down. You don't have nobody's running, so it's just about judgment and just jumping, and you don't have to jump that high in order to win the battle. It's all about timing and disc reading. So it's like a split-second decision.
Yeah, and especially the way Brichet threw that throw. Somerville was really out of position, and he didn't have the best read on it.
Montreal now with a 5-point lead to kick off this second half. Montréal qui mène 9-4 en début de cette deuxième mi-temps. On vous rappelle que l'enjeu est d'accéder à la Division 1. Les deux équipes ont déjà eu un match plus tôt aujourd'hui qu'ils ont remporté. Et l'équipe qui gagnera ce match passera en Division 1.
And you can see the sense of urgency Carleton has to score this point because we have Adibé and Somerville doubling over from the D point here. And unfortunately, that's Dagler with the huck out of bounds to Adibé.
It was a great target, great separation, but the execution was not good enough. So turnover in favor of Montreal. Montreal in the driver's seat with Gay, qui remet le disque en jeu, trouve Cohoner en soutien. Cohoner forcé revers, le gaucher. C'est Brichet qui s'ouvre en cible. Maintenant, Giard avec le disque. On travaille le long de la ligne du côté des Montréalais. Belle lecture aussi de Gagliardi. Oh, et ce sera... Non, c'était dans l'espace. La cible était Sabourin, mais il y a eu peut-être confusion. Et là, je crois qu'il y a une blessure déjeunée. Injury call number 38, Hodge, who's claiming he wants to get off.
And Gagliardi doing the thing that every Ultimate player hates to do, is the conservation of greatness, where you have a huge play and you throw it away after, unfortunately. But yes, we saw Hodge come off for an injury sub, and Dunnigan is on now for Carleton. So they now have a chance to hold again.
Bailey will put the disc back into play at his own goal line. with vertical horizontal stack by, there was some body bumping, Brichet and Edzibe. They were teammates last summer, so no arms done, no hard feeling. Everybody's safe. Disc is back into play. Edzibe resetting it to Bailey. Bailey looking for option long. Tons of traffic around him, but finds a hole on the break side. Carleton with lots of space, moving the disc quickly midfield now. With 97 done again, feeding 40 to Somerville. But there was a pick call.
And Cohen just acknowledging there that he wouldn't have had to play on the disc anyway, so he's just catching up and letting Somerville have the catch.
Carleton with great disc movement. Eng with the disc, looking for a reset. Bailey having to jump to secure the possession. Bailey going back in on the break side, going around his mark. Nice defense by Brichet. It was an open player there. Kind of number 42, Somerville was a great target, but Brichet kind of very well read that in order to deny the point.
And Brichet just poaching off his person and leaving his defender to go make that block, because as obvious as the throw was to Degler, it was really obvious for the defenders too.
Corner remettra le disque en jeu. Beau pivot. Alimente le long de la ligne. C'est Gay avec le disque. On force du côté revers, du côté de Carleton. C'est la Combe-Burgoine avec la pression défensive. Garde contrôle du disque. Et ça sera un temps d'arrêt de demander par Montréal. Timeout call by Montreal. Still, they are in a possession of a break mark. And you have 2 timeouts per team. So why not, hey, let's try to secure that break opportunity. They have done the same thing in the first half, but they couldn't convert shortly afterward. Let's see how they can take advantage of this opportunity.
Yeah, great point you make there. Again, short roster. So like you say, why run our legs when we have timeouts? Especially there's been a couple turns already, and they just want to make good decisions. So probably call a play. Coach Portray there, who's been playing for 17 years, played Blackbird from Montreal and Mephisto, so in that Montreal open scene, and has now been coaching UDM for a couple of seasons and coaching the Club M system as well.
Yeah, he's been strongly involved in the Montreal Ultimate community for many years. Great players, doing a great job at the Université de Montréal. And I think that calling a timeout when a break opportunity, even though you're leading by 5, just shows the respect you have for the opponents. Hey guys, we're leading by 5, but it's not over. We need to take advantage of all the opportunities that we have. And as you very well mentioned, that's what Montreal is doing. Like it's not over until it's over. And we respect a lot those Carleton squad, because they have depth and they can do some damage.
Yeah, for sure. Even though you've seen a couple of mainstays here like Adibay, Somerville, Bailey play a lot of the points, they have depth here and a deep shot going up here.
Kind of a Hail Mary, 5 players fighting, but Adibay denying that long attempt by Brichet. There was 3 blue shirts, 2 white shirts. Down the road, it's a turnover favoring Carleton. Done again, finding Bailey's inside. Another inside cut, this time by Somerville. Now it's Simmons resetting to Bailey.
And it's great to see Simmons back out onto the field, because he did call an injury earlier in the game.
So no serious arm done, fortunately. Done again on the reset in his own red zone. Quickly going midfield, finding Simmons. Simmons flicking it, but it's floating, and it's just out of reach. There was 2 blue jerseys and 1 white jerseys, and maybe the wind picked it up a little.
Yeah, and you just see the difficulty of that throw. We saw Cohonair and Degler execute some good throws with OI flicks, and Simmons just not having that there that time. But that just show you how many good throwers are on the field, because same throws are executed in different results.
Montréal en possession du disque. Lavigne contourne sa marque, trouve la combe bourgoine. Ça, c'est une des marques de commerce de Montréal de briser la marque. Et là, c'est Brichet qui s'offre en C avec un lancer, somme toute audacieux de la combe bourgoine. Un lancer revers qui va vers l'extérieur pour rentrer à l'intérieur. Un outside in, si vous me passez l'expression. Et Montréal qui en inscrit un 10e. So, I was just highlighting la combe bourgoine throw, like going back in, outside, going back in to reach out to Brichet. So great execution by the Montreal handler.
Yeah, Lacombe Bourgogne, just seeing what was around, who was in the way, and just bending the disc in a way to get the throw to Brichette, who was wide open in the deep space.
So timeout call by Montreal, which has proven to be beneficial. Maybe not immediately. They lost the disc and they took it back, but still a timeout that overall still worth the call.
And it looks like Carleton is calling their own timeout. Probably same reason as in the first half, just to steady the ship. They have gotten broken twice out of half, I think.
Montreal had 3 break point in the first half, but there was 1 break point for Montreal in the second half.
Okay, so just going hold break coming out of the second half. So at first we need to stop the bleeding. We need to get on the board, and then you work on getting some more breaks after. So right now we're probably going to see them just telling the boys to calm down. We're still in it. There's still a chance. Carlson's been here before, especially the past 2 seasons, just in a game to go. So they definitely don't want to panic, but they know what can happen.
They need to make things happen sooner than later. Catch-up ultimate is not necessarily a game plan. You want to make sure you stay close, you stay tight. But we have to give some credit to the Montreal squad, even though they have a very short roster. Their execution has been not flawless, but they have been greater, and they were able to move the disc very well around very quickly, and they had some long option which they were able to convert also. So on the long game for Carleton, so far they have not been very, very successful, at least from this aspect.
Yeah, Carleton missing a couple of open hucks there, but one thing about UDM that you can see is the calmness in the disc. Like when they have the disc, they're not panicking. They trust that their teammates are going to be getting open. They trust each other to make good throws and to execute the throws well, and that's just making the difference here. Sometimes when Carleton gets the disc, you see a little bit of panic, a little bit of scramble, 2 people cutting to the same space.
Carleton on the receiving end, quick pass and run between Bailey and Hodge. Going along to Adibe. That's kind of a trademark point by Carleton. Quick disc movement, banging it down the road, down the end zone, and score in less than 20 seconds, maybe?
Yeah, and coming out of the timeout, you saw them execute that split stack again, getting Adibe out of the split stack instead of Degler this time, and Hodge and Bailey were just throwing it in between themselves until one of them got a great flick huck opportunity, and Adibe is a great target to throw to, just beating his matchup there.
Carleton showing that they have the firepower. And how will Montreal respond to that? Carleton still hunting down their first break point of the game, while Montreal has already 4.
Yeah, it's a 10-5, I believe, going into the game, and Carleton has had to earn all of those on offense. And let's see if they can earn one of those points on defense here with Kim again with the pull, and you see Bailey doubling back from the O-line just to probably help them out after a turn.
55 minutes out of 80 have been played so far. So still plenty of ultimate to be played. Let's see if Carleton can close the gap in order to win this game. Pressure is on the white jerseys. Montreal is in the driver's seat. They will be on the receiving end of this pool. Adibe just runs for his life on defense, trying to shut down this first pass, which is indeed doing. Montreal having to adapt.
And a bit of a zone look here from Carleton, just switching it up even more. it seemed like it's a 3-person cup with a taxi, but they are melting really quick now here into just match defense.
Gingras qui remet à Brichet après que la défensive de Carleton. Oh, beau plongeon défensif. Nice layout bid by Archer, denying that pass. That's really a clean layout, and that's what Carleton needed. Number 2, or Simmons, feeding Adzibe in the red zone.
And look for Bailey here again to try to help steady the ship here. You also have Dunnigan here on the turn. Just strong throwers who can help Carleton punch this break in.
Let's see if Carleton can be disciplined in the end zone. And indeed, they can. Simmons providing his team their first break point. Is that a momentum change for Carleton versus Montreal?
Oh,
nonetheless,
absolutely. When you see your teammates laying it all out there like Archer did to get the D back, it's going to fire people up. And then you even saw Adibe, usually a receiver in this game, but he can throw assists too. Just doing it all for this team.
Montreal with a 3-point lead or 4-point lead. But still, Carleton scoring their first break point of the game. So we just said there's still 25 minutes to be played. There's a lot of ultimate can happen in 25 minutes.
There's a lot of ultimate to happen. And what Carleton realizes, if UDM's not going to throw it away, they're going to have to go get the disc themselves. So they're probably putting on another line here to go try to get some more Ds. Adibe on the pull here. I don't know how many times Adibe has pulled in a game. So we'll see how this goes.
Looking forward to it, but I just love the way, like a really nice layout bid for the defense, which you're able to convert, as you very well mentioned. Way to go to fire up your teammates. Adibe.
Okay, I lied. This has been a very good pull by Brandon.
It's I'd say a very, very, very good pull by Adibe Montréal, qui mène par 4 points. La Combe-Bourgoin bouge le disque rapidement du côté des Bleus. La défensive de zone du côté de Carleton.
Yeah, it looks like Carleton's throwing the same zone here just to disrupt the handler movement from UDM, but again, melting very quickly into a person-to-person defense.
On transitionne rapidement à la défensive 1 pour 1. Montréal qui poursuit son chemin vers la zone de points. C'est Dubois avec le 10, la Combe-Bourgoin en soutien, défendu par Adibe. C'est maintenant Ferbert avec le disque. Connor maintenant en plein cœur de la zone, à moins de 10 verges. Attaque, contourne sa marque. Beau plongeon défensif, mais c'est un peu court. Ferbert avec le disque encore une fois. Montréal avec un stack. Vertical, on attaque le côté bris. C'est le numéro 3, Gingras avec le disque littéralement à la porte des points. Feinte, trouve le petit espace pour rejoindre la Combe-Bourgoin et Montréal qui répond en inscrivant un 11e point. 11-6 Montreal.
Yeah, and you saw Ferbert throw that assist to La Combe-Bourgoin. And that's exactly what UDM needed after getting broken. Just disciplined Frisbee, just hitting their open players, smooth reset. They got to the front a couple of times, just reset, and then open players are going to come. And at some point, Adibe has lost his visor, so you know it's a very serious game for him now.
Oh, so okay, that's one symptom how serious the efforts and the commitment and the energy that Adibe can put into a game. We know how athletic he is and how much he always provides. I've seen him play in other format of the game last summer, and it's so like his energy that that you can see when he's on the field. He's always out there giving his 100%. So great inspiration for his teammates.
Yeah, and you need good teammates like that who are not only going to provide performance on the field, but be a spark plug in the huddle. People who are going to yell, people who are going to hype their teammates up. You know, Cohonair is doing that same thing for Montreal too.
Montreal on defense. Carleton looking to close the 5-point. They are trailing versus Montreal. Adibe. That was an amazing defense by Brichet. Was there a call? Yes, there is a call. Oh, Brichet is not sure. He's asking his teammates. And we know Adipé and Brichet, they have been teammates all last summer long, so they know themselves very well. So is Coroner.
From our perspective here in the booth, or from my perspective here in the booth, it looked like a very clean layout D hand block from me. But again, Adibay is very entitled to make his foul call, and this is what we said earlier. You make a foul call, you have a discussion, and the result doesn't always have to be contentious.
Whatever the output, the way it's being managed is what you can expect from players. Just staying calm, even though the emotion that can be in a game when you're doing such a great defense. So Brichet saying, okay, I'm giving you this one. Adibé, if you say it, I might have fouled you. So no arms done. Put the disc back into play and move on.
Yeah, and great spirit by Brichet there.
Adibé going break side. So now it's Dagler with the disc. A nice reading by Bailey. Going break side. Adibé once again, quick disc movement by Carleton. Literally on the doorstep of a point. Nice little push pass by Adibé. Finding number 38. Hodge for Carleton, 7 point, now trailing by 4 in this second half.
And you saw Hodge there with a little shake and bake action there, just juking one way, getting Brichet's to turn his back, juking the other way, and just getting open on the open side, and Adibay just feeding him. So Adibay providing the previous 2 assists for Carleton. So really trying to put this team on his back and will them to Division 1.
Montreal, in the meantime, still in the driver's seat, leading by 4, 11-7. So let's see how Montreal respond.
And continuing to double over here, you have Dagler playing another point. Adibay, it seems like his 4th or 5th point in a row. And it seems like Carleton is really trusting in these 2 guys to help get them to the finish line.
So to your point, at this point of the game, you need a break point. You need to create some turnover. They have tried a zone defense with, mitigated success so far on the Carleton's end. Would you go on a one-to-one defense now and just play your hearts out, or you try something funky, crazy, change the mark around? What would you do?
I think for me, you have to limit the main players on Université de Montréal. So looking at the line now, you have to get Lecombourg going outside of the handler space. You have to get Brichet uncomfortable, not getting this so easily. You have to get Guay away from the disc. But it seems like Carleton's opting for a zone here, and that's what they're going to try to do to slow them down. And melting very quickly here.
Lecombourg. Montréal qui doit se défendre contre une défensive de zone, trouve les espaces. On y va avec une belle passe vers Brichet avec le plongeon pour sécuriser le point de Montréal, le 12e point des Bleus, 12-7. Wow, what a layout grab by Melvin Brichet.
And being Brichet's teammate this past summer, you just know he does things like that. He's just so young and so good at Frisbee.
So young, so tall, so athletic, so skillful. It's scary. What an athlete. What a grab. And Montreal just waving off Carleton's zone defense. We were just talking about what should you do on defense to try to create a turnover? Well, obviously, they were not successful, at least from the last point.
No, and a little bit more about Brichet is he actually came over from France. So he played on the France U20 team at U20 Worlds in Poland and just started at UDM. And one thing he said is French here is really different from the French they speak in France. Can you speak more to that, Etienne?
Évidemment, le français que le Melvin Brichet connaît en France versus celui qu'on parle à Montréal est assez différent. Plusieurs anecdotes intéressantes au niveau du Ultimate aussi, là, mais de toute évidence, Brichet s'est très, très bien adapté au Ultimate nord-américain et au français québécois, de toute évidence. Alors, on est bien content de l'avoir avec nous. In the meantime, Carleton, great footwork that was called in, and it's confirmed. Adibay, great field awareness, securing Carleton They're 8 points. So really, Adibe saying, hey, follow the leader. I'm the leader. Let's fight through all the end of this game.
Yeah, the past, I think, 3 points you've seen Carleton come out into a side stack, Bailey to Hodge, Hodge to Bailey, Bailey to Hodge, to Huck to Adibe. And it seems to be working because he's getting open. They've tried a couple different matchup on him. Cojoner was guarding him there and still couldn't stop him deep with the nice little toe drag to keep it in bounds.
That was a great field awareness, great toe tipping by Adibe. So you have to make sure your foot is inside the field and still stay focused on the disc, grabbing it when you're out of position. I mean, that's just amazing.
Yeah, and the most difficult part about that play is when you have to toe the line and grab the disc, you have to look at somewhere, right? So some people make the mistake, they look at the ground to make sure their toes are placed well, but you're not looking at the disc. Or you look at the disc and you find your toes out of bounds. So very difficult, takes a lot of athleticism, a lot of skill, and a lot of spatial awareness of your body. And Carleton opting for a roller pull to trap UDM on the sideline here. Let's see, another different defensive scheme to work. And the difficult thing about this is, can UDM get it off the sideline?
Lacombe-Bourgoin avec un lancer d'engagement court. Oh là, Bailey qui était tout près de voler ce disque à Brichet. Brichet avec une belle passe, une détente en hauteur pour trouver Lacombe-Bourgoin. Montréal qui se défend contre une défensive de zone. Carleton qui doit provoquer les choses. Là, il commence à manquer de temps. Il reste moins de 12 minutes au match. Brichet. Encore une petite passe avec une détente en hauteur. Lacombe-Bourgoin qui va alimenter le numéro 23. Et voilà, Montréal, patient, bouge le disque. Et c'est Dubois qui va procurer à la franchise montréalaise leur 13e point. Montreal taking a 5-point lead back after a while. The great disc movement once again by the blue jerseys.
Yeah, and UDM deserves so much credit there because Carleton's doing everything. They're throwing different looks at them. You saw the zone, you saw the match. Now you saw the trap on the sideline, and just getting it off the sideline, working it through the middle, working through the zone, quick disc movement until Lacombe-Bourgoin got the disc from Rivet, and he just went up the line, and Lacombe-Bourgoin put out that OI flick for him to get, and Archer there couldn't do anything about it.
We've seen Brichet with two back-end high release just over the wall of defense. So, and considering it's not that windy, so you can attempt those throws. But in other weather condition, these throws might not be an option. So we'll foresee with the weather forecast that awaits us tomorrow if those type of throws probably will not be an option. But let's stay with this game and the weather forecast that we have. See, Canadian, we're always talking about forecast. Weather forecast, that's our main.
Yes, playing in Brampton for the past few years now, you just know the Brampton weather, it's not something to look forward to at this time of year. It's going to be windy, it's going to be rainy, it's going to be cold.
It's never boring, for sure.
Never boring. And Bailey just running in to tap this disc right now. A little sense of urgency from Carleton.
Bailey looking for an option, finding Adzibe. Oh, nice bid by Brichet. Nice fake by Adzibe. Bailey looking long, but goes on the break side. Quick disc movement. Carleton in control. Nice flick on the other side, but it's just out of. Oh, Adzibe landing very, very hard. His head seems to have hit the ground very, very hard. Ugh. That's something you like to see, and he seems in pain. The observers ensuring that he is okay. Hopefully he is, but from our point of view, seems to have landed very, very hard.
Yeah, and that's not something you want to see here. Not just because he's a key player for Carleton, but just safety. Like, these are students out here. They have school on Monday. So hopefully his head's okay. It seems like he's up and talking, but you see his teammates on the field telling him to hurry up the discussion because, like you say, it's 13-8 with only not too much time left.
So there's less than 10 minutes remaining in the game. So if there's any good news, we're seeing Adibe standing up on his 2 feet.
and it looks like they are upholding the foul call from Brandon and giving a yellow card to Giard. I think any play to the head constitutes for a yellow card these days with observers. If you're not familiar with the card system, we have a blue technical misconduct foul. You have a yellow misconduct foul for your personal, and a red just leads to an ejection. So Giard getting a yellow card there for that play.
Adibé will put the disc back into play. Defended by Giard on the doorstep of a potential point. But it's being defended by number 11. Nice layout beat by Gay, just blocking this disc.
Yeah, and we haven't said Gay's name a lot, but he does have that experience from the U24 mixed team there, and what a great layout D on Dagler. Tight space. Adibé was trying to force it in, and now Brichet with another timeout.
So is that a timeout call? I believe it was
This is their second of the half, I think.
Yeah, that was their second of the half. So I was just wondering. I think Carleton might have argued that they already had taken 2, but no, they did not.
A little wishful thinking from Adibé there. We have observers on the field, professionals.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't let UDM get away with too many timeouts. And yeah, Brichet doing what he does best, calling that timeout after a couple turns to give them some rest. And it's getting to the end of the game. They've been playing almost 70 minutes straight here. Yes, they did get a little 5-minute break at halftime, but you wouldn't know that they only had 13 players on the roster the way that they're still running and playing defense.
Absolutely. And there are less than 10 minutes to be played, less than 7 minutes remaining in the game. So, Montréal toujours dans le siège du conducteur avec une avance de 5 points, avec moins de 7 minutes à jouer au match. On vous rappelle l'enjeu de ce match et le gagnant passera dans la division 1. Montréal qui a remporté la 3e place l'an dernier. Il y a 2 ans, ils avaient gagné le championnat universitaire canadien. Et Montréal qui doit passer par la qualification dans la division 1. Ceux qui sont en bonne voie de faire Conner qui est en chasse pour le 10, mais ça sera bloqué par le numéro 42, Somerville, denying Conner on this long pass attempt. Carleton running out of time, trailing by 5 with approximately a little over 5 minutes to remaining in the game. Bailey going great, but there was some contact, which is no contest by number 4, Laving. So still Carleton possession, number 2, Simmons with the disc. There was a violation call, but no damage, no harms done. 2 blue jerseys fighting, 1 white jersey. It's a Hail Mary, but Adibé. And it's confirmed, yes, by the observers. Adibé still leading his team, not giving up.
Yeah, and there's some assists that you can tell the thrower really threw the receiver open, and it was a great throw. That's not one of them. Adibé absolutely bailed out his teammate there. There was about 3 or 4 UDM jerseys there, and Adibé still just got position, boxed out, went up. Have yourself a game, Brandon, here. Just so many goals, doing it all for his team.
When you go long with the floating disc to add, even though with all the athletic skills of Adibé, but there's Brichet always hanging around and say, that to your point, maybe that's not the most safe pass, I would say, that you can attempt. But hey, you have to try some things out because you're running out of time and you're trailing. Now you're only trailing by 4, but they were trailing by 5. So you have to attempt stuff.
Yeah.
Do not give up. You need to fight until the end.
You're very right. Simmons gets credit for the assist there. He's pushing the pace. They got to score quickly. They only have about 5 minutes left in the game here. And time's not on their side.
Rolling pull by Bailey. They'll try to squeeze Montreal along the sideline. Un lancer d'engagement court qui roule à l'extérieur dans l'espoir de coincer Montréal et de créer un revirement rapide. C'est le lancer marteau de la Comburgoine là, qui va au-dessus du mur de l'équipe d'Ottawa. C'est Rouville avec le 10. Montréal toujours en contrôle. On attaque la zone de points, mais on est patient. Là. Le temps est à l'avantage des Bleus présentement. Conner qui s'offre en cible, en soutien. Une belle passe du côté droit va rejoindre Dubois. Et c'est Dubois qui trouve Gingras Montréal encore une fois, qui prouve son efficacité lorsqu'ils sont en possession du disque. En inscrivent un 14e, mène 14-9 en cette fin de deuxième demi.
Yeah, and I definitely, for that point, give credit to Lacombe Bourgogne, throwing the hammer to Cohonair to get them off the sideline. Again, Carleton, they're trying things to get short turns and still not working for this UDM roster. So talented, so disciplined, and then just working it to the open side and getting open time and time again.
And I understand Carleton's idea of you making a rolling and try to squeeze in, but you have such a skillful handler like Lacombe Bourgogne. If there's no one in his face, he has that throw. He will make that hammer, and without any hesitation, the disc was in. He just hammers it easy. He does that like his two eyes closed and like no pressure. So I believe you need to put a little more pressure on the guy just to at least force him to pivot or he needs to earn that reset.
Yeah, and the thing about zones is, as much as you're taking something away, you're still giving things up. So yes, they're taking a lot away on that open side there, but again, you're leaving the break side wide open with just maybe 2-on-1 defenders.
Absolutely. Carleton, Bailey's definitely running out of time, but still firing it long. Adibé versus Brichet. Oh, Adibé seems to have a slip and seems to suffer again.
I think Adibé is taking a page out of his soccer books with some of these flops and dramatics after the call. But it looks like Melvin Brichet is not contesting the foul, and Adibé is going to get the disc.
Very, very quickly, Brichet acknowledging that, yes, there was a contact and Adibé might have a bid on the disc. So Adibé will take it back on the goal line.
All right, so let's see how disciplined this Carleton stack can be in the end zone now.
Bailey quickly offering himself as a target for a quick little dish from Adibé, entering the double-digit scoreboard zone for Carleton, scoring their 10th, but still trailing by 4 in this game to go to Division 1.
And again, I don't know if we've seen Adibé come off the field this half. You've definitely seen him, Bailey, Dagler play a lot of points. Do you think you could do this much running, Etienne?
For sure I cannot, but obviously that's why I'm not playing there. So that's why I have so much respect for all of these athletes playing out there, while we just heard the horn signaling the end of the game. So there's only 1 point left. So Montreal will move on to Division 1 regardless of the output of this last point. But I suspect Carleton will want to finish the game with the last point, just like we've seen in the previous game where TMU were trailing by, I think, 9 points. But they've scored the last point. So, you're just fighting up until the end.
Yeah, it definitely feels good to end on a high. UDM, with 13 people, they definitely earned it. They worked really hard throughout the entire game, making good choices. And Carleton, they battled back. They didn't have the cleanest start, just going down a bit in the first half. Some missed executions. They definitely cleaned up in the second half. But credit to both teams for putting on a great show today.
So we're moving towards the end of our second assignment today. Our third and last assignment for today will be at 2:55. We'll have the great privilege of streaming a women's division game where Chantal and you, Devin, will have the great pleasure of calling the games while we see Conner qui en possession du disque. Pendant qu'on termine notre deuxième rendez-vous, le Brichet qui perd possession du disque, il s'en voudra un peu. Il regardait à qui il passerait la passe. Et ça, avant même d'avoir attrapé la passe, c'est assez typique là, du Ultimate.
Yeah, and like you said here, hopefully Carleton can end on a high. They have a break chance now, and let's see what they can do with it.
Alors, notre prochain rendez-vous, our next assignment will be at 2:55, where Devon and Chantal will host the next game, which will feature two teams from the women division. Adibé going long. It's floating. There will be battle in the air. And C, number 2, Simmons, putting an end to this game. Unfortunately for Carleton, losing their opportunity of moving upward in the Division 1. But let's give credit to Montreal with their short roster. They are now officially in a position of defending their bronze medal from last year. So looking forward for how will Université de Montréal will do in this 2023 CUUC edition. So it is an amazing games from these two teams with the traditional handshake. So Devon, thank you very much for all your color commentating. You did an amazing job. So looking forward for our next assignment at 2:55, where Chantal and Devon himself will have the great privilege of sharing this women's division game. Merci encore une fois d'avoir été des nôtres. Le prochain rendez-vous est à 3h moins 5, alors que Chantal et Devon vous accueilleront pour un match de la division féminine. Alors, c'est le prochain rendez-vous. Merci encore une fois d'avoir été des nôtres. N'hésitez pas à nous faire parvenir vos commentaires, que ce soit par la chaîne YouTube ou sur nos différents médias sociaux. On vous donne rendez-vous tout à l'heure et ça se poursuivra aussi samedi et dimanche avec un total de 10 matchs pour ce championnat universitaire canadien édition 2023. C'était Étienne Fournier qui était avec vous. On vous dit à très bientôt. Allez dehors et lancez des disques. Ciao.
À tantôt, tout le monde.